Good morning. Welcome back to Wolf of Asgard Hobbies. If you're a new viewer, welcome to Wolf of Asgard Hobbies. I am your host, Kyle. Today we will be talking about mountain men and one of the weapons they used, known as a blunderbuss. And a weapon I think they might have used, and here's a quick disclaimer, I could be absolutely wrong. In India, it's called a Howdah pistol, but double-barreled flintlocks have been in America for a while, either in the form of a shotgun or there are double-barreled rifles. So the idea of a mounted man using a double-barreled flintlock pistol isn't that far out there. But according to a book I read, they definitely use a blunderbuss. So with all that said and done, here are your timestamps. Let's get into this. So here are, ladies and gentlemen, on the hill. I've loaded this up with 5 .36 caliber pellets as a buckshot, 50 grains of powder, and then about like 50 grains of 2F, 5 grains of 4F. Target's about 20 yards. Let's see if we can hit it. So yeah, we definitely got it in the top right corner, bottom left corner. Now let's shoot a 54 caliber slug at it. All right, so we're gonna shoot a 54 caliber ball, still 50 grains of powder. I'm gonna aim slightly under it, and maybe I'll do better. Yeah, we have one new hole right there. Oh, and by the way, that center hole is from the stick holding it up. That's not a bullet hole. So it's only been hit 3 times out of roughly 6 shots. All right, so we moved up about 5-ish yards, which makes it about 15 now. We're gonna shoot it with a jungle shot, which, if you're unfamiliar, jungle shot was used by the Rhodesian forces, now what is known, Rhodesia, now known as Zimbabwe. The idea is pellets on top of buckshot, and that the pellets would shred through the foliage, making it easier for the buckshot to go through and hit whatever's behind it. So I have 24 pellets, 6 .36 caliber balls, left barrels loaded only. So let's see effect on target. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pellets hit it, but none of the actual slugs. Alright, let's move on to a 20 gauge slug shot. Okay, so what we're going to shoot now is a 20 gauge slug, 60 grains of powder with 5 in the priming pan. Let's see how this works. Of course it doesn't. Let's try again. So I blew a big chunk out of the bottom. This is still a pretty new target, so I think we're just going to continue to use this. Move it up closer, and we'll start with the blunderbuss, and then go back to the Howdah. Alright, so just in case I didn't say it earlier, I'm going to say it now. All of my Howdah shots are at 60 grains 3F. All my blunderbuss shots are at 50 grains 2F. Then, of course, 3 to 5 grains 4F priming powder. So we're gonna go buckshot again. We're gonna start off where the Howdah started. Well, yeah. So we're about 15-ish yards. Buckshot. I'm gonna aim just below center. So oddly enough, at this distance, none of those shots hit. So we're gonna do 54, just a slug. I'm gonna aim a little off to the left. So sorry that my camera cut off. Don't know what happened. I still got plenty of storage. So I thought I missed, but it doesn't look like I did. Alright, so like I said before the camera stopped, onto the Howdah. We're gonna move a little bit closer, about 10 yards. So as you can see, we moved up closer. I'm gonna fire it one-handed, the slug, 60 grains, 20 gauge. Right barrel is the only one loaded. I aim to the left. Fuck. Ow. Alright, so maybe two-handed or a glove is recommended. As you can see, I got it right above the last one. So we're going to load up the jungle shot and see if we can do better at this distance. Okay, here we are. Jungle shot. I'm going to do the two-handed method. I'm going to have my front hand like this, firing hand like this, and now we're just going to see. About center, a little to the left. Firing. No. Oh no. Malfunction. Alright, so the trigger on the Howdah broke, so that ends the shooting portion of this video. On to the next. So outside of shooting, tracking off the land, mountmen would also practice tomahawk throwing and knife throwing. As you can see, this is not the knife that was attached to my hip. This one's a little more sturdier than that. And this is also not the tomahawk attached to my hip. This is the one I've been throwing. I went over this in the Rangers video. And I went over this in several videos, starting from artillery to infantry to ranger. So, let's begin the throwing. Alright, so I removed my leather vest so that this would be easier to see. So first rule of gun safety, treat all firearms if they are loaded. Second rule of gun safety, check and confirm. I have nothing in the pan. Nothing down the barrel. 3, keep the firearm pointed in a safe direction at all times. 4, identify your target and surroundings. 5, keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to discharge the firearm. So the word blunderbuss comes from the Dutch donderbus, which either means thunderbox or thunder gun. It was developed in either Holland or Germany during the 16th century, where it would remain popular until the 1840s. Designed as a large caliber smoothbore firearm, it would have a very distinctive flared barrel, which either would take the trumpet shape that we see in front of me, or later, when it got adopted by the military, a barrel shape. Even though I found this in the black powder rifle section, this is considered to be the predecessor to the modern shotgun. The Mexican military or police, I forget which one in which war, would have a pistol version of this known as the Dragon, named after the dragoons, a type of mounted infantry. During the 17th century, it would be later adopted by the British Royal Navy, where it would have a more bell-shaped flare, a ramrod slot, and a deployable bayonet that was spring-loaded and attached to the barrel. I have pictures of all those here. It would be used during the American Civil War, American War of Independence, the 7 Years' War, or French and Indian War as we know it. It was used for self-defense, boarding actions, stagecoach defense, and of course, hunting. There is a type of blunderbuss known as the Killer Wolves made by an Italian company during the 17th century that would also have a foldable stock image here, which there's also a YouTube video on it by, it was either Everything Black Powder or the Rock Island Armory. I forget which one. But yeah, so that is my quick history about the blunderbuss. Let's go over to the Howdah pistol. Alright, so right here we have my double barrel flintlock pistol. This is also known as a Howdah pistol. But before I get into the history about it, let's go over the gun rules. 1. Treat all firearms as if they are loaded. 2. Check and confirm. As you can see, the hammers, well, technically the term is cock. The cocks are in their fired position. So are the frizzen pans. Well, the frizzen pans are open, which means there's no powder in the trays. Otherwise, they would have fallen out by now. So that's 1, 2, 3. Nope. Check the barrels. Right barrel, empty. Well, I guess that would be the top barrel on your side. So left barrel, bottom barrel on your side, empty. Keep the barrels pointed in a safe direction at all times, so they're pointed slightly down. And if they were to accidentally go off, I would no longer have an air conditioning unit, so that'd kind of suck. 5. Identify your target and its surroundings. Well, I'm not shooting it at the moment, so there are no targets and there are no surroundings. 5. Keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. My finger are nowhere near the trigger. They're just touching the back. My palm is actually touching the back of the trigger guard. Alright, now to the history. Hunters, particularly in the British Raj, I don't know how you pronounce it. I'm sorry. We need some type of defense against close-up animal attacks. At first, they just used sawed-off shotguns, sawed-off rifles. It wouldn't be until 1790 that the East India Trading Company would actually design a pistol off using British military pistol specifications, and it would be called the Howdah pistol, after the basket that these hunters would ride in on the back of elephants. Here's a picture. It wouldn't be until 1850, and yes, I double-checked that. It wouldn't be until 1850 that the Howdah pistol would be converted into percussion lock, and then it wouldn't be until 1890 that they would become cartridge firing pistols. I forget what year, but during the 1900s, I'll throw up in the notes because I'm good at that. A company, I forgot the name of the company, so I'll also add that, would make a Howdah pistol that fires 45 long Colt and 14 shotgun shells and model it as an automobile and home defense weapon. You can find 4-barreled Howdah pistols, but there's also another pistol known as the Lancaster pistol, which is a British company. Was a British company, I should say. That would make a Howdah pistol, Lancaster pistol, that could fire 4 barrels using an internal rotating striker mechanism instead of hammers. Okay, we're just gonna go over a quick notes version of this Tomahawk here because I already did a good majority on it in my Infantry Tactics Part 2 video. Tomahawk is an Algonquin word. It means to knock down. Traditionally, tomahawks were made out of either knapped stone, sharpened bone, or deer antler that was tied to a maple or hickory branch, either using rawhide. It wouldn't be until trading with the English, it's not even true. It wouldn't be until trading with the European settlers, mostly the French, that tomahawks would start getting their distinctive still shape. And if we all remember correctly, this shape here is a hatchet, but it's a French hatchet. So, now that we got the quick notes version of this one done, let's move on to the next bladed weapon they would have used. Alright, so we're going to do another quick notes version on this because I'm pretty sure I did a video about the Bowie knife or Bowie knife in my Rangers video. So, quick rundown. It was designed by Risen Bowie, forged by Jacob Black, and given to American pioneer and slave trader Jim Bowie, who would die in the Alamo, but he made this knife famous during the Zanzibar battle. I think that's correct. Yeah. I'll correct myself in notes. You know I always do. This knife it was modeled after a large butcher's knife and wouldn't get this distinctive shape until like way later. This is what we think it now looks like. It would also be used as a fighting knife in World War I, where it would eventually be replaced by American cutlery, now known as the K-bar. I also think that's right. I'll have to look it up. And yeah, that's the quick notes on this. A mountain man is an explorer who lives in the wilderness and makes their living hunting and trapping, living completely isolated and off the resources provided by the land. They were active in the years 1810 to 1880s. Some of these mountain men, though not all, would speak the languages of the Native American tribes in the area. Some of the skills a mountain man must possess is to start a fire in wet or dry conditions using flint steel or the drill method, tan hides, make and repair clothing, track, and must at least spend 5 days traveling by foot, canoe, horseback, and if in the winter, using snowshoes. Some famous mountain men are James Buckworth, John Grizzly Adams, John Liver-Eating Johnson, William Old Bill Williams, and James Jim Bridger. Some mountain men could also seek employment as either scouts or expedition leaders. Some two that I can think of off the top of my head that were famous for this is James Buckworth and James Jim Bridger. So I hope you enjoyed this. I mean, it wasn't as informative, I feel, as previous videos. As you can see, I'm back and I gotta get used to being in front of the camera again, doing better research, filtering out what is and isn't relevant to what I'm trying to show you. But all the same, I hope you enjoyed this. This was I think, an interesting way to end this season. Next season, I'm going to do some woodworking and, well, whittling. I'm going to do some whittling, and with it being winter, or at least now it being winter, I'm also trying to do some forging. Nothing too crazy, just simple things. And yeah, that's all I got. Happy to be back. I hope you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned till next time. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please click the like button. If you have any suggestions or criticisms, leave a comment. And if you want to stay tuned for my next project, don't forget to click that subscribe icon and ring that bell. So, until our next project, have a beautiful day.